Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to, I believe, episode 18 of the Prairie Puck Podcast.
Technically, episode 1 of the CFL edition.
I guess, sort of, yeah. And then with, I believe, Jake up there, Ryan over here, as you already know, and then our very, very special guest, Chris Walby, who I believe is right above me.
Yes, he is.
I think so. And, yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
I appreciate it, guys. Like I said, when you guys were calling me and texting me, I know I was kind of giving you the runaround in the beginning because I was like, okay. And then somebody said, that kind of got confused because on the messenger it said, we're doing a show Friday at 3 or 12 o'clock. And I was like, hold it. Are you guys, who am I dealing with here? I didn't realize you guys are broadcasting it on Friday. So,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we record them.
So it all worked out good, man. Good for you guys.
Yeah,
a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you, sir. Alrighty, so Ryan, take it away, please. Sorry.
Well, and we were talking about it earlier in the show, but for I think the young folks that may not know exactly who Chris is a Hall of Fame CFL player with the Bombers and born and raised Winnipeg, Manitoba man.
Yeah, North End, St. John's boy. Went to school in the States. Yeah, you know what? I played a lot of hockey. It's funny when you talk about that because I really didn't play football till the end, but I was a hockey puck, and I think I shot a few pucks with your old man a few times there in Tony. So, and I could think some of those guys with the North Stars and in Sinclair Park out in that area. Yeah, I had a great time. But, yeah, it's something to be, I think that when I look back on the years now, and I think that, the fact that I got to play here 16 years was pretty cool.
So how did you end up deciding that football was going to be the path over everything you guys did? I know you guys all played hockey, baseball. You did it all. So what carved your path into football? What made you go that way?
Well, it's funny because I did play baseball, but then somebody stole my glove. And so that was the end of my baseball career. It was probably a good sign anyway.
All right.
And then I was playing hockey, and then obviously I had that. I went all the way to junior A, played for the now defunct Kildonan North Stars.
Yep.
And, we had I think it was an altercation with the Dauphin Kings up in Dauphin, and they came back here. We had a couple goalies that played professional, and Carl Friesen and Warren Skradansky. Like, Carl Friesen was our goalie. He played for the German national team for years. Warren Skradansky played in the NHL with Calgary and somebody else. So we had a pretty loaded team, goalies and forwards. And anyway, we got into a bit of a rumble, disagreement, if you would. And another fellow, one of the guys that I played with, Jimmy Flett, who's probably pound for pound the toughest guy I ever seen. We end up having a little issue with a couple of the players from Dauphin, and unfortunately they ended up going to the hospital. And unfortunately, Jimmy and I got arrested at a hockey game in our whole gear. Well, it was pretty crazy when we were sitting in a jail cell with everything except our skates. Now, it wasn't pretty, but so to answer your question, shorter version of it is, they basically, I went to court, got charged with assault, and my hockey career, they said it was over. I was banned from playing. So I figured I got to find somewhere else to put my energy in. I decided at that time that I was going to maybe pursue football. I don't know, because when I first started playing football, I was pretty effing bad. I wasn't a very good football player. So, I mean, I'm surprised that I actually started to develop and get big, I think, because I was just a skinny rake in grade 12. I was only like 6'7", 180 pounds.
Wow.
Wow.
It wasn't pretty, man. Plus, I didn't have any teeth. I had lost a tooth in hockey, and my parents couldn't afford to give me a tooth, so I walked around with a big hole in my mouth, so I was very attractive. So, needless to say, I was a ladies' man back then.
Wow, yeah, sounds just like it, Chris.
What was your peak weight in the CFL? So you went from 180 to what when you were kind of in max shape?
Heaviest ever was 367.
That's a drastic change.
That was my last
incredible.
year when I played at 40. I was 40 years old in my last year, and I was 367. Then I went on a diet. I went on a CFL challenge with one of the major diet companies, and there's a guy who beat me actually by 9 pounds. His name was Jerry DeTilio. Was a quarterback for Montreal Alouettes. This guy wasn't even big. I don't know how much he lost, but I think he lost 90. I ended up losing 80 pounds. I went down to 280 something pounds, and I had people coming up to me going, "Man, I'm sorry, man. How you doing? You okay?" They thought I had the big C or something. They thought I was sick. And everybody just said, man, you don't look good. So, I basically just cracked a few more cold ones and decided I'll stay at the weight. I'm about 310, 315 right now. Probably going to be that way until I'm on the ground. So that ain't a bad thing.
No, for sure. That's definitely there. And then how long did it take you before you really started like finding your groove in football, would you say? So you started a little bit later then, you said?
I think, you know what? I only played 1 year high school.
Yeah.
Grade 12 at St. John's with Graham Killing, who was a coach, great guy. And I remember we were doing drills, and he had those stupid drills where you jump and roll over each other. And I kept hitting everybody, and nobody wanted to be in my line. They're like, oh, shit, get out of Walby's line. You're going to be here forever. It was ugly, man. And so I thought, well, and then I went to the Hawkeyes. I tried out for the Winnipeg Hawkeyes. And I tell this story all the time because at that era, you never get cut. And so all my buddies that I was playing with at St. John's or else, just after, said, hey, let's go try out for the Hawkeyes, So we went out there. And I think it was third day of practice. They pulled me aside and said, the guys, and I think his name was Coach Gray. Anyway, he said to me, Chris, this is not your game.
Oh.
And if I was you, I'd find another sport. And they cut me. And they didn't cut anybody back then. And the worst part is my buddies drove me there. So now I had to sit there with my bag of stuff, my garbage bag full of my stuff, and wait for the practice to be over so they could drive me home. And that was motivation. So I didn't play the rest of that year. And I decided to start lifting weights. And that's, I think, the big thing. Got a lot bigger. I think I went up to about 230, 240. And took a year off and then went to try it out with the Rods and had a great time. Played with the Rods for 2 years and then got a scholarship. And I think it was the time, probably my last year at the Rods. I think I was 19. I was probably 20 years old at the time because I think you only played at 20. I thought, okay, this is not bad. I was a defensive lineman. That's all I ever played was D-line. So I thought, hey, I'm not bad. And then I get an offer to go down to, I go out and try with the Bombers. Actually, I tried out with the Bombers as a 19-year-old.
Wow.
And just got my ass kicked all over the field. But I said I wasn't going to quit. So I made the 2 weeks of training camp. And I'll tell you what, I was in training camp with Dieter Brock, Buddy Brown, Butch Norman, all these guys from Alabama. And we're in the co-ed dorms at U of M. And I hear these noises, bang, bang. And what the hell's going on? I go downstairs and they got a mattress against the wall. And they got their rifles at the other end of the hall, and they're having target practice in the damn hallway. I'm like, are you kidding me? Is this what it's about?
Oh my God, that is incredible.
I wish I could tell you some of the stuff they did because now it's so politically incorrect for rookie night and stuff like that. But yeah, we had some crazy times. So I said I'm going to stick it out for 2 weeks. I stuck it out for 2 weeks. They were going to play me in an exhibition game, and Ray Yock was the coach, and I said. And I found out if I played one game that I couldn't get a scholarship or I couldn't go to States. But the Bombers offered me Oklahoma State, Arkansas State, and Dickinson State. And I went to Dickinson State because it was just about a 13-hour drive. So smaller school. I think it was a better thing for me. I ended up getting a teaching degree. It basically gave me a second chance to play the game I loved at that time. And, the first day I went down there, I knew I was in love with this place because I was in the shower butt naked. Well, of course you're naked in the shower. Right?
I would hope so.
Some little guy, this little chubby guy, his name was Skinny Myers, which was an oxymoron, right, when you think about this little fat guy looking at me. And I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. I'm in the shower, and there's a guy staring at me. So I go, hey, what's up? He goes, are you the new guy? I go, yeah. Okay, we're downstairs. We'll pick you up in about 20 minutes. So I go down. We're staying in a dorm. I go down, they get me in a truck, and they take me to this place called Green River. And it's a keg party. It's the first keg party I've ever been to.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy walk in, and the guy, we're at the gate, and the guy goes, that'll be $2. I go, $2? Hey, that's not bad. $2 a beer. He goes, no, $2 for a glass. You can fill it up as many times as you want. But if you lose your glass, it's another $2. I was like, oh, I went to heaven, man.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it was good, man, because that was my first night there. That was my introduction to the team. And, I just loved it. I loved the school. I almost got kicked out that first night, too, because I got in a fight like an idiot.
Did you win?
First night there, some guy that drove me this, the aforementioned Skinny Myers, these guys were bullying him. And so I borrowed a farmer's glove, one of those leather gloves. And I'm not proud of this. I just sucker punched the guy. And yeah, he went down pretty hard. And all of a sudden, some cops were coming, and I thought, well, this is great. I'm on a conditional release to go to the States. So I'm hiding under a combine in the next farmer's field. And I waited, and actually the guy became a teammate and a great friend after that. So it was just one of those things. He never said nothing, so it worked out good. But yeah, it was a fantastic place to go. Yeah, a lot of stories, man. I'm probably going to write a book. I got a guy that wants to do a book.
Wow.
I'm probably going to put a lot of stuff that I really can't say in the book, but we'll see.
I'd love to read that. That would be incredible.
Are you accepting pre-orders?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun, man. I mean, it's funny when I'm talking to you guys. I know I ramble a lot because a lot of times when I talk to guys like you and young guys and guys that just get me to open up, and it's like a Rolodex. I'll tell you a guy you got to talk to. If you ever get a chance to talk to him, he's a Rolodex of files of information. His name is Bob Cameron, the kicker that played for 20 whatever years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You get Bob on there. He's phenomenal.
Okay.
We'll have to reach
I
out.
can't remember, but he'll start talking and you go, holy shit, I remember that. Yeah. Like he's just good about that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's, I don't remember what you even asked me about the question. But yeah, that's, I guess when I started liking football really a lot was when I got opportunity to go to States.
Well, I got one request for you though about your book.
What's that?
When the audiobook comes out, you need to read it yourself. Don't let someone read your audiobook for you, because a lot of people are reading them on podcasts. You got a good voice for it. It's always the best when you get the actual athlete or person to do it.
I'll listen. I had the great good fortune after football, and it's funny because I played till I was 40. My last year, that was my 16th year, and I was going to play back again. I was going to come back and play the next year.
Wow, really?
I had hurt my knee that last game I played in a nothing game. Blew my ACL on my right knee. Took a shot like an idiot. I took a painkiller. They shot my knee up to play this game, which meant nothing because we were going to play Edmonton in the first round of the playoffs the next week. And anyway, that was my end, and I ended up walking off, and that was it. And I said, no, I'm coming back. So we had a trainer, and we worked all off season. And then they fired Cal Murphy and brought in Jeff Motorcycle Reinbold. And he hated me. He called me into the office to meet the O-line coach, and the new O-line coach was all over me going, I heard you like to call plays in the huddle. I heard you don't like to listen to anybody. You make your own shit up. You're a bad influence on everybody. I go, are you kidding me? Come on, man. I had fun. I said, hey, listen, I said, I'll put my credentials on there. I said, I was 40 years old. I still made All-Star that year. And he's like, well, we don't like the way and then I find a guy from Vic Stevenson who played tackle for Saskatchewan. And they don't understand. The O-line are brothers right across the league. And he phones me and goes, Chris, they want me to come to Winnipeg. And they want me to take your job. I just laughed, said, not a chance, not coming. And I ended up not going back because that was the time when CBC started contacting me. And this is kind of roundabout to your point there, Diddleshag. I mean, the fact that, I got to do called 10 Grey Cups, which is, pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of guys do games now, and the TSN owns the rights, but that was back when CBC owned that part of it too. And I had a guy in Toronto who he just hated me. And it didn't matter if I would go, look at that guy, that's how you do it. You put a hat on a hat, that's how you do it, And he'd go, who wears hats in football? And he put this in the paper. Everything I said, he mocked.
Oh, my
Oh, my goodness.
So this guy was a pain in my ass, literally. And I just, he just made it tough. But I did 10, and at the end I was tired because I was working another job at the time too. So I said, nah, I got to get out of here. But yeah, but it's funny when you say the voice, because I was listening to OB today and listening to the tribute to Bob Irving, and having had the opportunity to not only talk but do things with Bob and have a couple, drink some beers with him. Just a great individual. So it's, and that's the guy talking about a voice. I can hear Bob in any room and know it's Bob. So, going to the game this week, the Bombers have me doing that little spiel in the beginning of the game and at halftime. So I'm definitely going to say something about Bob. I'm on a part of a video for him too. I mean, just a great guy, and it's just an honor to even know the guy and be involved with him.
Yeah, absolute legend in the industry.
For sure.
Oh, is that for a rant? That was only like 10 minutes of ranting.
I think we can listen to another hour of that, Chris. It's awesome to hear these stories, man. I know all of us are appreciating the information right now.
You should see me when I've had about 3 or 4 beers. then the problem is I got to watch what I say.
Oh, we got the finger on the bleep button. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say, though, it was funny, though. I remember, I think it was the second game of the season. I came and I saw you, and I was like, and at the time I was just like, oh, this is awesome. I don't want to get my hat signed. Thank you. But I remember the guy in front of me. He bought a beer and he gives it to you. And all I can remember you saying is, he's like, oh, this is more like it. They gave me this thing right here. And you point to the water bottle next to you.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. Wade Miller walked by me a couple of times, the CEO, and I went, hey, Wade. And he just kept walking. So I'd say to anybody, boy, am I thirsty, son of a gun. Boy, I tell you, people started coming up, putting some beers down, and Stan Mikowa was my best buddy. Was there. He's like, no, man. And all of a sudden, they were bringing him beer. He goes, this is great. This is how it's supposed to be. I said, yeah, man. We're signing autographs, and I guess they're bringing a ton of alumni down for this weekend's game for the West Final. So it should be a real good get-together with a lot of the old guys.
Awesome.
Well, how excited are you? Because, I mean, you came from the previous generation where we were winners, and then it feels like my whole life it was just blanked.
Yep.
And now we're back. So, like, what can you tell us? Like, what's your thoughts? Compare, I guess this last 2 years of Bombers versus when you played, and do you have any kind of ranking in your head of dream teams or who you would?
Well, we had a couple good teams. 87, Tommy Clements last year here. I think that I think with 92 we had a great team. I think in 93 we're probably even better, and that's when I think we would have won the cup. We went to the cup in 92. We lost to Doug Flutie, who's just a freak. 93 we had Matt Dunnigan, and he blew his Achilles. And we had beaten, that's the year he threw for 715 yards or whatever against Edmonton. And we're going to play Edmonton in the Grey Cup in Calgary. And, of course, Matty's not in, so we got Sling and Sammy Garza, who was Cal Murphy's son-in-law, who's a good guy in his own right, good quarterback, but not a Matt Dunnigan. And just a great guy. And anyway, we made a game of it, but I know in my heart of hearts, nothing to take away from Sam. If Matt was there, there's no doubt in my mind we would have won again in 93. But as far as the most talented team, I don't know. You've got a lot of great guys. I mean, Willard played with us in 84. In 87, we had a ton of talented guys. I think what we had when I grew up, when I was playing, we had, which reminds me of this team, we had a great defense.
Mm-hmm.
We really had a good defense. You think about James West, Darryl Patterson, who's the D-line coach now for the Bombers. Tyrone Jones, who was just a great player. Greg Battle. You talk about guys that are still here in the Bombers, Rod Hill, Les Brown, Paul Bennett, Rick House, Joe Poplawski. I could just go on and on, right? All these guys you got to play with, right? So then when you look at the guys they have now, and this is about as talented as a team. Listen, seriously, there's no weakness on this team now that they picked up Sergio Castillo, right? Because that was my weakness. Was I thought, they're going to have an issue because they had missing all the field goals. But having said that, I think he's done well. He's 7-9 now or something like that. And
I believe so.
We got Janarian Grant probably back. I saw Andrew Harris was at practice today. It looks like he might play now.
Oh, really?
Awesome.
Practice today, but will he play? Will he play? Be a good one. There you go, 33. Just put a 6 in front of it. I like you. Yeah, I just think that if he can play, but I got to tell you guys, you look at the receivers. You got Nick Dembski. Kenny Lawler, Rasheed Bailey, Darwin Adams, and of course they got a guy that's going to win the most outstanding player, Zach Collaros. And the two I'll give you for sure is him and Stanley Bryant will win the offensive line again. He is that good. He's just a stud, man. He doesn't miss games. He's just a stud. He's going to go down as one of the greatest, if not all the best, the greatest. But they got such a good team. I mean, I look at them right now. I know Saskatchewan's going to try and run the football, and they got a good defense. But Cody, after lucked out throwing 4 interceptions to win that game against Calgary, I was more worried about playing Calgary than I was.
Me too.
Against Saskatchewan. Yeah. So, and that's not to say Saskatchewan's not bad, but no. So to answer your question, I this might be the best team I've ever seen. O'Shea, I wish we had a guy like, you know what? It was different when I played, right? Like, there was never professional cooks in the locker room. You know, these guys get breakfast. They get lunch cooked by professional chefs. Shit, I'd be 700 pounds. We used to have to go to frickin' Eastside Mario's and get chicken wings, peppercino peppers, and pints of beer. That was our lunch.
Sounds like a good lunch, not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah. Good lunch, yeah. Oh yeah. You can't. I will never trade that for a world, man. We're still eating a lot of peppercino. Have you ever had peppercino peppers with the beer?
No, I haven't.
Oh
I have
man,
not.
you find it little. Oh,
I have.
Yeah?
I'm the old guy.
Beer? It's heaven, man.
I gotta try that. I'll put it on the list of things I need to do.
Yeah, you will.
Absolutely.
You'll probably
Okay,
have
so-
one and go, what the frick was that woman?
Probably. Oh.
So can I ask about Saskatchewan though? Because we were chatting last video and everyone had called Calgary and I said Saskatchewan's been the biggest pain in the ass in the CFL
Yes.
for the last 20 years. They just feed players everywhere. And I'm gonna take my victory lap, Carter. I told you, never discount Saskatchewan.
Yep.
I'm actually nervous about Saskatchewan, not because of the talent. I have no analysis on that, just because they're bloody Saskatchewan and they keep figuring it out. So
Yeah, they find
I'll
a
give
way.
you
should
that.
we be worried, or is this like as close to a lock in sports as you can get, which doesn't exist, but this feels
You know what?
lopsided.
And I'll tell you what, they might have, and I know the Bombers have great fans. They probably have some of the greatest fans. I mean, when I was doing CBC, every place I went had a section of green. They just got a great fan base. Listen, I think if I could pick, even though I was worried about Calgary, I can't ask for a better game than Saskatchewan, Winnipeg. The two Prairie
Oh,
Dogs.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, look at the Labor Day, the Banjo Bowl. Yeah, we cleaned them out this
Yeah.
time, but that doesn't mean anything, right?
Yeah.
We're missing a couple guys. Cody Fajardo only played half in that one first game. You know, they didn't have Shaq Williams. They didn't have, Duke Williams. Didn't have Shaq Evans. They had an offensive line that was beat to shit. Yeah, so this could be a good game. And, you know, the weather is supposed to be snowy.
Yes, that's what I'm most excited for.
Oh,
That's what I love, man.
Me too.
Yeah.
Snow, there's nothing like playing in the snow, man. You're just a kid. I don't care how old you
Oh
are.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like, especially because I played center, so I remember having to, because I could never do it with a glove. I always had to do it bare hand. I just remember in the cold, bringing it out of the hand warmer, just going, "Fuck, it's
Oh,
cold." Yeah.
You're right, and that's what they said. Everybody said you just gotta be warm, man. That's the thing. Stay
Yep.
warm.
And
Who did-
O-line, I find in the winter can be just a mess of guys slipping and falling, and
Yeah.
it is something else.
But it also helps you as an O lineman. You know, it doesn't really help the run game, but a lot of times it takes away some of those speed guys.
Mhm.
Well, I
Yep.
remember we were
Yes.
There was
Yes.
a year back in the old days where we covered the field and they uncovered it and it froze and they couldn't get the ice off the field. So they made it, I think it was the only time we ever had a game where it was an 80-yard field at the old stadium.
Wow.
And
Wow.
if you watch the film, it was ice and snow. And I was playing against a guy named Brett Toaster Williams. And everybody around us is sliding all over. So we're watching a film the next day. And my old line coach, Charlie Carpenter, goes, "What the hell is going on with you two?" I said, "Well, the truth is we're laughing. We hit each other. Not one of us is moving." I looked at him. I said, "What do you got?" He goes, "Tacks." He says, "What do you got?" I go, "Staples." We both had shit in our shoes. We're the only ones in the bottom of our shoes that were slipping in the ice. Everybody else is figure skating except for us two in the middle of the field.
Oh
man.
my God, that is amazing.
Well, and what
That's
was
what
up? What was up with the turf back then? I played at the old Bomber Stadium.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like paint. It was green paint, basically on concrete. It's
You
not
talking
this
about
rubber.
Saskatchewan?
But everywhere I played on
Yeah,
turf, the
Saskatchewan's
turf was
awful.
horrible. It was horrible. But nowadays
used
they got
to-
that beautiful rubber pellets, and
Oh,
I mean that
shit,
stuff's
yeah.
magic.
Oh, it's nice.
When they had, they used to have grass, and the grass was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they had I don't know what the guy's name, little Portuguese guy was in charge of it, and it didn't matter who you were, how big you were. If you walked in that field, he chased you to rake. Get off the field. They just took care of the field. And I know that when it got wet, it was sloppy, and that was again another fun. You know, we'd go out there and slide, and just put our whole body through the water in the mud. But yeah, the field's not. I mean, they got a nice field right now. I mean, the Bombers have a beautiful field. Saskatchewan was the worst though. Their old field Taylor Field was just crap. And it's funny because you took the words out of my mouth. It was indoor-outdoor carpet.
Yep.
And they had a bunch of holes, and they had spray painted the holes green with green paint.
Yeah.
So it was awful.
Paint on,
we'd come out of there,
on concrete.
frickin' arms cut the crap, and then we go in the shower, and they'd all go, "Oh, by the way, guys, the hot water is off. It's busted." So here we are taking cold showers, and then Cal, and then all his generosity, we'd get the leftover hamburgers for the ride home on the bus. Yeah, they were 18. I think I had a bite out of one of mine. So, just nasty, saving money all the time with the club.
So what was the deal? And I mean, it still happens today, but I mean, we got two guys that play O-line here. Why did you guys always wear sleeves, or no sleeves, even in -30? Like any other player would put on sleeves or something, but the line, never.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. You just took that out of my head, because I was going to say, it's interesting. Like, when we played, the first thing we did, everything's superstition, right? Like, I'd go to every game before the game, on the road or at home, and I'd get 2 big ice buckets, and we'd fill them with ice, and we'd stand. A couple guys would stand right in that ice bucket for 20 minutes.
Oh.
And then we come out, your legs were just blue, and then your feet would come back with circulation, and then you get ankles taped. Well, you felt fresh, just like a kid, right? And then we go, and you have the superstition was only certain guys could touch my shoulder pads to help me put them on, whether it was Len Amy, who just passed away, God bless you, Len, or Brad Foddy. And then, of course, the grease comes on. So we put the grease and rub it right in, then we take the silicone spray and spray it on, and then we pour water all over it. And then we get Vaseline on our arms. And it's funny, because we'll go out and the guys will go, "Hey, 63's got freaking grease jersey." And the ref comes over and goes, "Walby?" I go, "No, feel it." He goes, what do you got? I says, "Hey, look at me. I'm fat. I sweat. That's just sweat. Leave me alone." And all the times they checked me, there's only once they made me take my jersey off. So that's pretty good. But going back to your question.
Once in 16 years.
There was a couple times that I wanted to put a jersey on. We were in the 84 Grey Cup, and that was cold in Edmonton. We had to wear broom ball shoes because it was so freaking icy out there. And I remember Sean Kehoe, who was our running back, backing up Willard Reeves. He wanted to wear a sleeve, and Cal went, "Cut that right off now. You're not wearing a sleeve out there. We're not showing any weaknesses." So we all started that tradition of wearing no sleeves. But there were days where I said, "Man, this is nuts." But now everybody starts talking about it. "Oh, Walby, you never wear sleeves." Well, shit, I guess I got to put, I can't wear them today. So, you just put that. Then it became atomic bomb. I put atomic bomb on my on my arms. The only bad thing I ever did was I took my jock off once, and I put it in the chicken soup. So everybody came in and was drinking the chicken soup, and I was just dying because my jock was in there. They were not happy with me.
For good reason.
Oh yeah. Well, that's like the kicker in BC. The kicker in BC way back when, rookie show, he gives the guys all these donuts, and they're all eating the donuts. He's going, "Great job, man. That's a good rookie. Feeding the old vets." And then he comes back and goes, "Oh, I passed these pictures out." And he had shoved his penis through every one of the donuts and took a picture.
Oh my God.
Guys, oh yeah.
What a legend.
These are the things that go on. They're just hilarious, man. But guys would get killed. Like, people would go after you. It doesn't matter. It was fun, though.
Of course.
Okay, you may not know, so I got to ask a question about a kicker, because I've wondered this for the kicking seems atrocious in the CFL and the NFL this year for some weird reason. Everyone's missing. Why is it so difficult for teams to find a stable kicker when it's that's all they do? And I'm not knocking, it's a very important skill, but I would just assume with the amount of soccer players and people and money that comes involved that someone would just be practicing kicks and nailing these. But what's going on in the CFL and the NFL this year?
Say that, man. We were blessed with 2 great ones with Trevor Kennard and Troy Westwood.
Mm-hmm.
They both could kick the heck out of the football. And obviously Troy being a soccer player. But yeah, we look at the Bombers with all these guys, Mortato, and I think he was 1 for 7. And, it's funny because in the NFL, if you miss 3 kicks, you're gone.
Yes.
They don't play games. Here we gave Mortato a couple times. We gave that Mark Leggio, the leg man, a couple times.
Yes.
Come on, guys.
Ugh.
They lucked out with the Sergio guy. I think he's going to be okay. I mean, that's a good thing for us right now. But, that's a good question. I think of a guy like Liram Hairelahu, who played for us and then went to Hamilton and is now, I think, with Dallas Cowboys, I think he is with now. And again, he's been cut 3 or 4 times in the NFL because he misses a couple, and they go bring the next guy in. That money's no object down there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it's like all those idiots who were screaming for Chris Streveler to come back here after he got cut from, Arizona, right? And then he goes right to Baltimore practice roster. It's just, I don't know.
Do we have a deal or
I'll
something
tell you
with
what my
Dallas,
pet
Chris?
My pet peeve of a kicker is a guy that kicks 4 field goals and gets Player of the Week. That's his freaking job. Are you shitting me? You give a guy 4 field goals.
Very true.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
I have not seen one O-lineman this year get a Player of the Week.
Doesn't surprise me. They always go with the flashy players. Anything that's flashy and highlight reel.
I think that Johnny Augustine or all these other great guys that are running the ball back there for the Bombers, whether it's Brady Oliveira or Andrew Harris, or look at Zach. Zach, who's got a concussion history, he's not getting touched. He gets 15 sacks, number 1 in the CFL. I mean, how the hell is it not? I mean, they did get 4.
And you wonder why that is.
I don't. That's just because the guy. Well, they do have a guy on that votes, Pierre Bergevin. From Quebecois. Maybe that explains it. Comment ça va, ça va bien. Anyway. That's my rant.
Yeah. So one thing I gotta ask, because I remember it was, I want to say about a week or 2 ago, I was on Twitter and I saw you put a tweet out, and I actually mentioned this in one of the videos that I was doing about kind of the lack of long throws that were happening. You were talking about a lot of short yardage passes that was happening. It was kind of driving me nuts.
Yeah.
So if you can expand on that a little.
Well, sideline is sideline. You're not attacking anything, right? You're just playing safe. It's safe throws. I think they had a term called nickel and diming it. And I know they accused Matt Nichols of that a lot of time, not throwing the ball deep, not stretching the defense. And that used to drive me crazy. It's almost like, and I'm going to rant again, that drives me nuts. And the other thing that drives me nuts is how the F can TSN have no, since he lost Chris Schultz, rest in peace, Chris up there, they got no linemen there. All they got is the pretty boys, the quarterbacks and a DB and a receiver. They don't know it, and they never show what the hell's going on in play. Well, show me the down block. Show me the cut. Show me this guy blocking. Show me some stuff. Anyway, that's another thing that's.
Would you ever consider going back to broadcasting, Chris, if TSN ever approached you and wanted you to come on the panel or anything?
Well, you know what happened? We had, when I worked for CBC, we had Glenn Suter work for us. He was double dipping, eh? And somebody at CBC said, why are we using another guy like from another network when we can have a guy in our own stable, like whether it be Sean Millington or I think it was Darren Flutie, other guys. So they basically said, well, this is okay. You're going to stay at TSN. So when TSN took it over, Chris Cuthbert went to TSN, and I had the good fortune to work with him. But he just said, you know what, Chris, I tried to pull you over, but no, it wasn't going to happen. So I said, that's fine. You know what? At that time, I was good with it. I've had a couple opportunities where OB asked me to come work for from them last 2 or 3 last year. Or I got 3 years ago and 2 years ago. And I just said I can't do it. Because at the time I was doing TSN radio with Darren Bombing and Troy Westwood. And just having a great time doing it. I missed being at the game live. But it was still fun to be with the guys you like, right? Hanging around, just talking stuff. So, I don't know if that door will ever open. I'm obviously, it's a year where, they want the fans to be identified with younger players now, right? They want to have somebody, they're going, oh, Grandpa, who's that old Grandpa bastard up there? Hey, Grandpa, what are you doing? Maybe I'm doing diapers.
Well, that Grandpa's one of the greatest offensive linemen ever playing the CFL, so I think the younger people like myself would show the appreciation there.
Well, I think that's one of the nice things about being, when Wade Miller asked me to do this thing for him at the Bomber games. At first I was thinking about it because I like going to the lake in the off season or during the summer. But then I thought, you know what? I get to go watch football again. So to me, it's a win-win, right? So I go out there, sign some autographs, watch the game, have a couple cold beers with a bunch of guys, and especially when you're watching our team win the way they're playing right now.
Yes.
And I really think, listen, Saskatchewan it's going to be a great game. And a lot of times the Grey Cups, to me, was always anticlimactic. The finals were always the game that gets you to the Grey Cup, right? Whether it was when we beat BC in '84 and nobody thought we were going to beat BC, right? And we were playing in BC and they had James Quick Parker and all these guys, and they slid a thing under our door saying, come over to the BC Grey Cup party after the game. This is before our game.
Oh my
And so the
god.
guys pinned it up, and we ended up beating them. And boy, I tell you what, it was. I mean, we come out. If you ever be in BC Place, you come out, you face each other. So their lockers are right opposite each other. So it's a lot of chirping, right? You know, it's not pretty. Not pretty, man.
I can only imagine.
Never is.
Oh, that sounds like the best of times. But yeah, I would love to see you get an offer with TSN or whatever. So hopefully, maybe one day in the future. But yeah, you've got that great insight and stories, and I really like that side of
guys
it.
Too. Like it's great to be on with you guys, and you know, I always have fun when you know, guys say, hey, you want to come on a podcast or come on a show? I say, sure, why not? So to me, it's fun for me, and I see you guys are really, you know, having fun with it too, and that's what it's all about, man.
We appreciate you coming on a lot.
Thank you.
So then if they brought you in and someone gave you the pen, the power of the pen or power of Zeus, whatever we want to call it, what has been going on, do you think, with the CFL? Like, I've been watching the ratings decline, and I know they had a, you know, chitty chatty with the XFL there. Why do you think fan interest from either a TV perspective or just league interest has been, you know, slowly going down with, I guess, the younger generation?
Yeah. Well, I saw a couple things. Like, you're right. I mean, there's major markets we have to fix, right? Montreal, I think it's started to turn the corner, maybe. Toronto is really got some issues in BC, right? But BC's got a new owner who really he's from there now. David Brearley sold it to him, so I think they're really trying to build something there. Toronto's a team that scares me because Maple Leaf Sports owns them. And Toronto, if you've ever been in Toronto, the mentality there is NFL because they've got the Raptors and they got the Maple Leafs, you know,
and the Jays.
And the Blue Jays, exactly, and the basketball, well, all that stuff. So they want to get an NFL team. And I know that Maple Leaf Sports would love to have an NFL team, which would kill the CFL.
Yes,
basically would kill the CFL, right? So I'm hoping that, you know, smarter heads prevail. And then, of course, you got the guy in Edmonton who says that to your point exactly, he was going, we need to get a younger demographic.
Yeah.
And we have to address all the different cultures. And I know BC, when they signed Suk Chung, because they have a huge Chinese community, that was a big reason for them. So, I mean, not that he's not a good football player, but, you know, Quebec, all the francophones, right? They want to kind of have something that the fans can identify with. So that's the big thing. And back then, another thing is when players played, you didn't see the movement of players like we do now. You know, the money wasn't that much better on the other side of the fence. So a lot of guys stayed put. Where nowadays, as soon as you're a free agent, man, it's whoever's got the bigger wallet, you're going to go.
Yes.
So there's always guys changing teams, and the fans have a harder time identifying with so-and-so player because, you know, he was with Edmonton, now he's with Winnipeg, now he's with Toronto. You know, who the hell is he now? So I don't know.
Yep. I wonder if also, I mean, this is something that you've been seeing more in like modern years about some of the things coming out about concussions and some things. There's definitely, I've felt there are some people I know who, for example, in high school, they wanted to play football, but they weren't allowed because they'd been said all this and that about concussions. So that's why I'm actually, I'm really happy that I remember, I think it was Adam Bighill posted on Instagram or whatever about the Q collar that he wears during the games for concussions.
He's got one, and James Wilder from Edmonton has one. You know, that's the biggest thing, right? CTE. The concussion syndrome, you know, and the helmets are a lot better than they were back then.
Yes.
No kidding.
The helmets we had, you know, I'll leave it with this one here. I'll tell you a story. I was playing in Hamilton, and our helmets were they had the little air pockets, like little ribs of air pockets in the side. And Len Amy was the trainer at the time, the equipment guy. And I said, Lenny, my helmet's, it sounds like it's leaking. And he pumps up, and I can hear the air coming out the other side. It's not even staying in the helmet. So I go back in the huddle because you can't take a play off back then. So I go in the huddle, and I come around, and I hit a linebacker, and I hit this big Samoan named Tuane Alapati. And it's the first time I literally saw stars. I literally didn't know where I was. And the next thing I remember, I was standing in their huddle. And our huddle was on the other side, and I was in their huddle, defensive line huddle. And Mark Campbell kicks me in the ass and goes, hey, fat shit, you're in the wrong huddle. Your huddle's over there. I was lined up in their huddle.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I came back, and Cal Murphy goes, are you okay? I go, I don't know. Well, all they did back then is give you smelling salts, right? Smelling salts, get back in.
That's
how it was,
incredible.
Yeah.
It was a tough game and still a tough game, but I think they really, really take safety very seriously now. You see the way they practice now. No equipment anymore. You know, you can only hit once a week if you even do that anymore. It's just crazy. I mean, safety is a big thing. I love it, but I always wondered how would it affect players in the beginning because, I mean, especially for an old D lineman, if I'm just shadow boxing and then a guy comes at me 100 miles an hour, how do I improve my technique? But
well, that's what I wanted to ask.
It'll have to be answered by people much smarter than me.
From a safety standpoint, like you were a player, do you think you need more live rep practices with contact to stay injury free during the season? Or do you think guys are getting injured, especially the soft tissue stuff? Like it seems like everyone's pulling a freaking hamstring now because they're not getting enough reps.
Well, you think about the Saskatchewan, 4 Achilles heel in one day, doing a drill, 4 in one day. Like, it's crazy when you think about it, right?
Insane.
I think if you're a DB and a receiver, you don't really need the contact. You know, you're basically covering and you're doing your other things, running routes. Quarterbacks, they never do anything. They're just overpaid, good-looking guys. Get all the hot chicks. Then you got running backs, I think, need to feel the hole. And D linemen always. And that was always the trick. Even when we played back then, it was always us having to go live as everybody else being in shorts. And then we'd look across the field in Brandon at training camp, and there would be Troy Westwood and Bob Cameron drinking Slurpees. And we'd be like, you sons of, And then they wanted to come drink beer with us after we said, you can kiss my backside.
Well, how do you keep your body as an O-lineman? Like, you know, Andy Harris, another way, like running back. I get he's 35, you played till 40, but like most punishing positions, running back in the line. How do you guys play? Like, how did you play till 40? How is Andy still playing? Like, I thought guys fell apart at 28.
Walk, you know what? Very lucky. Very lucky. First off, luck has got a lot to do with it. You're not getting any serious injuries. And then just training. And, you know what, we used to, when we were working out, say in the mid-careers, you know, Stan and I were always about how big we could get, how strong we could get, you know, how much could you bench press, how much could you do? And at the end, it was more reps. Quicker, you know, you didn't need to have that huge strength anymore. You still want to be strong, but, you know what, we didn't have to be pushing, you know, 450 pounds anymore. You know, we didn't, you know, we're good with just doing reps at 315, you know, whatever, just to keep the muscles active, but not trying to get them where you're just like, we had a guy named Doc Lucky who couldn't move very good, but this guy bench pressed 600 pounds. And he was a freak. I mean, the bar was bent. That Olympic bar was bent. And I waited till he left the room before I went in. Said,
as would I.
Take about 4 of those plates off there, boys.
Oh my goodness.
Well, and one thing you brought up before, you brought up a player that moved over to the Cowboys. It feels like in the last, I'm going to say 35 years, there's been like 15 to 20 Bombers and Cowboy connections. Do we have somebody down there, or is there someone making this? It just feels like the Cowboys end up being the team the Bombers go to and from.
Yeah, that's a great question. I know that in '89, I had an agent by the name of Gil Scott who represents a lot of guys in the NFL. And he said, and I was 30 years old, and he goes, we want, there's 4 teams that want you. So I don't want to go if I'm just going to be training camp fodder. I said, I just want to go if I got an opportunity. And I went to San Diego, worked out for them. Went to San Francisco. In San Francisco, I just ran a couple drills, and the guy said, that's it. And I went, holy, I must suck. And he goes, no, we saw you play. We want you. Can you sign today? And we'll fly you up. And I was going through a divorce at the time, which is unfortunate. But I said, I can't right now. He said, don't worry, we'll work it out. So they had me, you know, basically offered me a contract. And then I had to still go to Dallas. So I tried out. I was in Dallas with Mike Shula, was a position coach, and another guy in Phoenix. And I went there. And then I came back. And after about 2 weeks of hearing nothing, I get a phone call saying, how do you like Ottawa? And I went, what are you talking about? Well, I guess somebody pulled a favor. They pulled it out. Maybe they wanted to go with the younger guy. I don't know. But anyway, the deal fell through, so I ended up playing the rest of my career back in Winnipeg. But yeah, it's different down there. It was fun. It would have been fun. I always wondered what would have happened if I had played. But you know, it's ifs and buts, right, guys? You can never worry about what might have happened.
For sure.
You just take advantage of what happened and make the best of it. So.
Yep. And speaking about what happened, I just find this a little bit interesting because obviously you're talking about some of when you were finally starting to get your groove and doing stuff with the Bombers. However, I believe you were drafted by the Alouettes, correct?
Yeah, first
So
round.
if you could just kind of almost walk through how you started out there and how you ended up with the Bombers.
Well, it's weird because I was in Dickinson still, and I just finished my junior year and was made the All-American as a D lineman, and they had a bunch of NFL teams come work me out at the gym, and I didn't hear anything, and I thought, okay, this is obviously. So I talked to my coach down there, Hank Bijou, who was my coach, and I head coach at Dickinson, and I said, what do you think I should? He said, if I were you, he had a draw. I go, if I were you, I'd go and play in the CFL for a while. I said, okay, good. So I signed it. I'm sitting at home and I get a phone call down there, and it's I can't remember the guy's name. Geary. Bob Geary is a GM. He goes, Chris, we just took you the 4th overall pick. You're gonna like Montreal, blah blah blah. So he sent me a contract. I didn't know what I should do. I signed the contract, put it in the mailbox without a word of a lie. The next day I get a phone call from San Francisco saying they're gonna bring me out as a free agent. And I go, I just signed a contract. So I came to Montreal, and that actually was fun in Montreal because D-line, I was still a D lineman, and it was Junior Ayu, Glenn Fuzzy Weir, Dougie Scott, a lot of guys I still remember. But Junior Ayu was a big Samoan who would do a fire dance before the game, and literally scared the shit out of me. He had shark eyes. I don't think he had pupils, and he would just start doing his dance with a sword, and I was like, hey, shit, man, I want to sit on the other side of the locker. So, yeah, I went through that, and then I came to Winnipeg because they were forging my name on a contract. And that is another story, but I had to come to Winnipeg, and a guy by the name of Ellis Rainsberger said, do you mind working out with the O-line just to, for practice? And I started doing it, and he goes, you're in the wrong position, son. And next thing I know, I had a different color jersey. I never saw the defense again. So I went in for short yardage sometimes, but that was it. I ended up playing offensive line for the rest of my life, so.
Seems like it worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
You know what? I guarantee this, guys, I would not have played a long time at D-line. No. It would be a short career. We wouldn't be having this conversation right now. You'd be just probably throwing me money on the sidewalk as you see me on Portage Street.
You could clean the windows on the car any day.
That's right. I'll give you a spit polish.
Okay, so because the pretty boys get to take over the media, can you tell us, like, what is the main difference between being on the O-line and the D-line then and now? Like, what is the skill set difference? What designates a player to there? Where does a coach say you're going here instead of there?
I think it's a lot of, and I know that when I first played offense, it's learning to be patient. Because you're D-line, you're aggressive, right? You're always attacking. Whereas an O-lineman, you got to set, you got to come back, especially if you got a speed rusher like James Parker or something like that, Quick Parker. You got to be able to play that spot. So it's a little different. And the guys today are just incredible. I think they're all incredible athletes. I look at a guy like Willie Jefferson. I look at a guy like Jackson Jeffcoat, who to me could have been the outstanding player defensive this year. I thought he just had an outstanding year with, he led the team in sacks, forced fumbles, tackles. So to me, he had a great year. Now, that's not taking nothing away from Adam Bighill, who's a freak. But yeah, I think they're just the athletes of just the training is different too, right? I mean, now your diet is a huge thing. And I mentioned that earlier, right? Like everybody can work out. But there's no way we went and said, hey, Mikolas, you want to go grab a salad? That's not going to happen. It'd be, hey, you want to go grab a couple cold ones and some wings? That's how we trained, right? Yeah. It's just different, man. But we had a good time, and I wouldn't trade that for the world.
For sure.
So, here, I'll let you and Jake.
All right. I was gonna say I will ask you a question. I've been dying to know. You, Winnipeg, born and raised. You spent your time 16 years with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. What does it mean to you to see some of these amazing players currently on the Bombers that are Winnipeggers? Guys like Oliveira. You got obviously Harris in there as well. Dembski as well. Yes, a big name in Dembski. For me, when I see that, that's one of the things I love about the CFL is when you have local talent signing with the local team they grew up watching, and it's what makes it, I feel like, a little bit more connected with the fans and everything like that compared to the NFL, and it's one of my favorite elements. So what are your thoughts on that and how it is in the game?
I think it all starts from the top, guys. I got to give credit to a couple people, and that's Kyle Walters has just done a phenomenal job of bringing guys in and retaining guys, and especially local guys like you mentioned, Harris, Oliveira, Nick Dembski, who's having he's probably going to be the X factor. He's had a great game.
He's been incredible.
And he just is the guy that started his career in Saskatchewan but wanted to come to Winnipeg. They just created a culture. So you got O'Shea, who just treats players the way, just fantastic. And then you got Wade Miller. They wanted to build something. They build something right now, and I won't be surprised at all if they go back to back, because I think they just have that veteran status, and everybody now wants to play in Winnipeg because they know what they've created here, what the locker room is like, the way they treat their players. It's just first class, and for me, I think that's just what it is, man. I think the fact that they bring in a lot of local guys and they want to stay here. Eventually it changes, because what happens is if you win a lot, like the Bombers are doing, there's only so much pie to spread around, right? And I'm talking about dollars. Who do you sign? Who do you give the money to? And a lot of times it's the quarterback. But I think the CBA is the amount they're paying is going down next year, rather than up because of the COVID last year. So it'll be interesting to see how they pay guys like that are up for new contracts. Some guys, when you talk about Adam Bighill took a huge pay cut to come back and play for Winnipeg. He's probably going to win Most Outstanding Player, which means normally you go back to the Brinks truck and get some more money. Now, will that happen? I don't know. Be interesting.
Yeah. So if we put the proverbial gun to your head, do you need I know they have to work in tandem, so you don't get to use that get out of jail free answer. Would you rather have a very strong all-star laden O-line, or would you rather have an all-star quarterback with a mid-pack to lower-end O-line?
Oh, yeah, I think that's, to me, it's a quarterback. He's a straw that stirs a drink. You see what happened in Montreal with, Trevor Harris, who struggled. You look at the guys in Edmonton who've had a horrible year. Mike Riley didn't have a Mike Riley-type year. Bo Levi struggled. I'm going right down the league for Jardo. Lucky 4 interceptions to win that game. Who am I missing? Toronto, McLeod, Bethel Thompson, and then you got Nick Arbuckle, who he traded. I don't even know who's the quarterback. They had that Duck Hunter guy in Ottawa. What a shit show that was. So, yeah, you know what? Quarterback for sure. If you get a quarterback, that's why you look at Zach he's just playing lights out right now. And that's why I said, if you're a betting man, he's going to walk away with the MOP, and I think they're going to announce it this week. I believe they announce it either this week or next. No, it must be this week, because he's got to go to the awards next week no matter what. So.
And why is it so hard to find a quarterback? All the college teams in the States, all the colleges, the CIS in Canada, plus the NFL is only keeping 3 quarterbacks with the practice squad. So that's going to be 90 quarterbacks?
Yeah, but I think a lot of times you're looking at guys that are not a lot of guys don't want to come up here unless it's the last, because they're not making a ton of money if you're just a backup, right? Until you get the big payday to be a starter. But I look at a couple guys that I think are going to be Nathan Rourke, who's probably going to be the starter in BC next year. I don't think they're going to pay Mike Riley $750,000 again. And then you got the guy in who's the other guy I'm thinking of? Oh, Jake Mayer in Calgary.
Yes,
Mayer.
Yeah.
He's a stud.
These are two good when he was in. Yeah.
Now they might get offers to go to the NFL. You never know, because NFL says, "Hey, it doesn't cost you we'll bring you in. We'll give you $10,000 to sign. Keep you, see if you work out." And everybody wants to go to the show, and that's the show. The CFL is a great game, but compared to the money, the guys come down here. They're American. They get paid in Canadian dollars. Then they got to, go and exchange it if they're going back home, which is, a kick in the ass because you're losing 30% or whatever. So a lot of these guys say, you know what, I really want to get back to the show, make American money, take care of my family.
Yeah, I respect that.
And also, one thing I also a little bit wanted to add on to that was obviously the XFL trying to make kind of a bit of an impact last season, and now we're hearing about the USFL coming back, and they're going to be doing stuff. So the thing I am a little bit concerned about is I don't want it to get stretched too thin.
Yeah, I agree with you. We might dilute the product.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. I was thinking about the XFL with The Rock, and then I was thinking about the USFL coming back with the original teams they had before. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of guys that are probably going to say, you know what, I can make 60, 70 grand down there in Americans. Tax rate is lower. I don't get taxed to death like we do up here. So, Yeah, it's a great point, man. I tell you, you're right on it, man. You're on it, big fella.
I'm gonna make a bold point, like just throwing it out there. I don't think the XFL or the USFL, unless they are owned and operated by the NFL, will ever work.
I agree with
That's a
Ryan.
great point too, because you look what happened with Vince McMahon, who's got buckets of money, and they just kept losing.
Yep.
I mean, the biggest travesty, I thought, the biggest mockery was when they made those players put their nicknames on their jerseys, which I just thought.
Oh my! You're talking the original XFL.
Yes.
That was awful.
2001.
What was that? You don't know your
He
name or
hate
something?
me.
Oh, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
Man.
Rod Smart, the one everyone remembers.
Yeah, that's right. But he should have said dumb as shit.
I mean, Chris, you're buddies with Wade and other, CFL minds that have a brain, and you still have a brain. I can't figure out, why does the NBA get the G League? Why is and they have the WNBA too, but that's a different spot. The NHL's got the AHL. Why is the NFL not bought a secondary league or even tied in with the CFL?
That's what I've always wondered, was why they didn't even tie in with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think the NFL does consider in their own way the CFL as a fishing pool for players. That's why every year they'll bring out, like, they'll grab about 6-7 players from almost every team, and they'll bring them out, and these guys all sign contracts, and some of them get some good signing bonus. I think that what's his name from Montreal, the running back there who led the league in rushing.
What was his name?
He did his game last week. It doesn't matter. Anyway, he got $100,000 to go to the LA Raiders.
Whew.
And then they cut him because his parents passed away, and he went back for 3 weeks or something like that, and they cut him. So he felt that he wasn't getting the love he should have got. But most of the guys, they don't give you a lot of money. So anyway.
Well, and then you got that.
I got to get going, guys.
Okay.
That's
All right.
okay. That's all right, Chris.
I hate to leave you like this, but I got the mama's yelling at me from the other room.
That is a-okay, Chris. We've been almost
Thank
going
you
for an
so
hour
much for
anyway,
coming on.
so it's
Guys,
completely
great
okay.
talking to you. Great talking to you guys. If you ever want to do it again, give me a call.
We definitely will, my friend. We definitely will.
All right,
This was a
absolutely.
pleasure.
Bye,
Take
Chris.
care, guys. God bless y'all, man.
God bless you too, my friend.
All right, Tony, get a beer.
All right. That's awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for checking out this episode. Unexpected stop, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic conversation. I know all three of us definitely enjoyed that one. Make sure to drop a like on the Nolan Hockey Podcast. Make sure to check out.
And I just want to point out, make sure you check out Bonfire Sports, where you'll see Chris with some of his podcast stuff that he does, CFL content. So make sure you check that out. So I'll
For
make sure
sure.
it's in the description below.
Sounds like a plan. All right, guys.
Yep.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. Ryan, you got anything to say before they send it off?
This was amazing.
I really was. I'm a little bit in shock.
Stories
This one's
for
good.
weeks,
I want to
couldn't
listen
we?
to him go all night. I want to crack a beer, like he said, and just listen to him talk. That was insane.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Like, I'll buy his book, but I'm
Yeah.
going to listen to it in audio, not because I can't read. I love reading, but like
I want to
just
listen to his
hearing
voice.
him going, yeah, I'd rather have him read it to me.
Me too. Maybe we'll get him to sign the hard copy. I think that'd be.
be
We'll
awesome.
see. We'll see. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Like I said, make sure to check out my channel, Ryan's channels, and all the other affiliated links down in the description below. Have a great rest of your day. Go Jets, go. Go Bombers, go. And bye bye.